Eurovision fan, are you ready for the show? It's a battle of the bands at Eurovision 2023, and we have basically the first band that we got. It's Joker Out from Slovenia. Oh my goodness. How are you all feeling today?
Spectacular.
It's a really
phenomenal.
It's a nice sunny day here in Slovenia, so we're kind of in a good mood.
Yeah.
Well, I'm happy for you all that it's a nice sunny day because it is not here. It is very, very gloomy. But you know, my day is going to be brighter because I get to talk to y'all. So y'all were like one of the first acts that we had announced for Eurovision. Can you tell me a little bit about the process? Did the broadcaster come up to you all? Did you all say, "Hey, we think we might like to do this Eurovision thing"? What was the process like for even being selected?
Well, when you're a small country, everything is a good PR. So we decided to go out first. One of the first, so we get some free PR on that. No, I'm kidding. This year we wanted to apply to the EMA contest.
So the national selection.
So the next national selection. But when we wanted to apply, they told us that they're not gonna do it at all, and they're going internal. And that if we would like to go, they would like us to go, and it was an offer we could not refuse.
So it was kind of both of what you said.
Yeah.
We wanted to go and they wanted us to go. It was a match made in heaven.
Yeah, and all of this happened at the end of November.
Yeah.
Well, that's amazing because, I mean, honestly, EMA, I actually liked that national selection. But, you know, there's always the challenge of if a country that has like a semi-popular national selection, the fear is, well, if they go internal, will it work out? And luckily, I think in this situation, it definitely worked out. So when you were doing this song, were you doing the song with Eurovision in mind, or was this just a track that you were thinking about being like on your album?
Well, we didn't think of doing it for Eurovision at all. We had a demo which we really liked. It was a song that's 100% Joker Out. We call it shagadelic rock and roll. And when they picked us to go, we were like, yeah, this song is perfect for Eurovision, even though it's completely our song. And we went 2 weeks after that, we went to Hamburg to a studio to record it. And it really is just like what you would hear from us. It wasn't planned for any of our previous albums. This is going to be really a standalone single, probably.
Yeah, but it could fit very well.
Yeah, it still really does have the sound of our second album, which was released in September of 2022.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be on our greatest hits compilation, at least.
Coming out next year.
Yeah. All-time greatest.
All-time greatest.
Well, I have to ask, because when I hear the phrase Joker Out, I think about playing cards. That's the first thing that comes to mind. So the name Joker Out, why?
You're thinking too much.
It
really, yeah.
There was not a single smart thought behind this name, if we're honest. So
it really means nothing. We were just throwing out random names, like even worse than Joker Out, into our Facebook group chat when the band formed, and somehow Joker Out stuck. The only real criterion was that when a famous TV host from here, Slovenia, would say it should sound good.
Well, I like the name Joker Out. I think it fits. Now, I want to take it back a little bit, because I'm sure for each of you, you have different sort of backgrounds when it comes to, you know, music. Can you remember the first time you ever performed in front of an audience? Now, that could have been a living room. It could have been a school talent show. It could have been, you know, a party in the park. But can you remember the first ever time that you performed? Not as a group, just yourselves individually.
Well, for me, it was actually on my street where I live, because every year we closed down the street and had this kind of a picnic. Everyone gathered around because the guy who lives next door from me is a musician, and he always brought his band and they played the whole day. So the first time I ever played for an audience was there, and it actually happened with a little group that later on became the band, which collided with their band, and we became Joker Out.
My first performance was actually with your band in front of our primary school, you remember? Because his band inspired me to pick up guitar, and then they invited me to, at the end of like 9th grade, which is the last grade in our primary school, we played together a couple of songs. I think it was like, don't you remember, we played like It's not about the money.
Price tag.
Yeah, price tag.
That's cool.
Yeah, that's cool.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
What about you guys?
My first gig was also in primary school.
Yeah.
But it was just a small thing with our school band, just a couple of guys playing.
I was playing I was studying. I was in music school. I started when I was 5 or 6 years. So this was my first gig.
At the end of the year.
In the end of the year in music school. So I think I was 6 years old. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that my first gig was with you when me and Chris had our own band before Joker Out. But my sister told me last week that when I was about 2 or 3 years old, I gathered my whole family and gave them some instruments, and then we had a band and a performance. And I think I was the singer.
You were the singer.
I think I was the singer, yeah, or the drummer.
Well, I mean, I hope that you all had standing ovations at your first performance because now you're formed together. Now I'm going to keep it a little bit back. I'm an American, so it's not like I've had Eurovision in my life, my whole life to a certain degree. But can you all remember your first Eurovision memory?
Yeah, I think we kind of agreed on that our first collective Eurovision memory was of 2004 when Wild Dances won by Ruslana. And then after that, Lordi came the next year, which was a really big thing for people who like rock music in general, I think.
Yeah.
Well, talking about music that's stuck in your head, and I will also say I've had a couple of other people say that like their first Eurovision memory was Ruslana. So clearly a very key year and key memory for a lot of the folks participating at Eurovision this year. But outside of Eurovision, what song is currently stuck in your head? So it doesn't have to be a Eurovision song, just what song do you have floating around in your head other than, one of your own songs?
Okay.
Interesting.
I have, can I say because I have it? I have a song called Ciao Ciao by an Italian group, La Representante di Lista.
Interesting. I think because it's really hard to have a song which is not Eurovision stuck in your head right now because all we do is listen to Eurovision songs probably because we listen to all of the competition. But I would say the one that was stuck in my head for the past couple of months was Flowers by Miley Cyrus.
Oh, yeah.
There actually is a song that has been stuck in my head for the past 2 weeks. It's Backseat Lover by Mayer Hawthorne. Does anyone know that?
I think I know that.
It's like a pop 70s inspired soul, but in a modern way.
Yeah.
Really cool song.
Wow.
I don't have any songs stuck in my head, but I listen to a lot of Portugal Demand lately.
I also don't have a song in my mind. So.
He's a drummer.
Or am I?
So it's just beats. It's just beats in your head. Well, you mentioned that you've listened to some of the Eurovision songs, and I mean, I've got kind of a signature question. You all have a very unique sound, I would say. And so let's say you didn't have Carpe Diem and you had the opportunity to steal a song from someone else at Eurovision 2023 and put, of course, the Joker Out stamp and spin on it. Whose song would you want to grab?
Oh, which one?
Okay, in this case, I would go for Lazara or Marco Mengoni.
Yeah.
I would choose Lazara also.
Lazara.
I think we would do Evidema. We would do
Yeah,
a version of
Lazaro would be great. Or maybe we could steal Austria's entry and title it Who the Hell is Joker Out?
No, I love it. I love it. Now, I of course, I decided I was going to look a little bit colorful today because I feel like, for you all, the fashion is slightly important and intentional. So when you're thinking about your clothes and how you wanted to present yourself, to the world, like what are your inspiration points and how do you put together your looks?
Wow, our outfits for today must be a very big disappointment.
The last couple of months we've been working with a stylist. His name is Ponorelli. He works with us for all the big performances, like the one we had on the national television and also on Eurovision. But I don't know what are our inspirations really. We're quite nostalgic, I would say.
Nudist beaches.
No, I think that people on the internet really got the vibe of where we went with our clothes, which is like a 60s, 70s, but still combined with modern day era. You know, it doesn't feel like it's old school or vintage. So I guess that we've had this comment for our music also, that it sounds old and modern at the same time. So if we capture the same vibe with our clothes, I think that's a good success. Yeah.
Mm.
All right. So, I mean, I gotta ask, and this is like kind of a random question. You know, what's a language that maybe you don't speak, but you just love the sound of, and maybe want to learn?
Portuguese, that's good. Huh.
French. Yeah, French. Yeah.
I would go for Japanese.
Okay, I think so. France is currently in the lead, but you're not the only person to mention Japanese. The folks at Tvorchi, Ukraine's representative, mentioned Japanese. I do believe that they mentioned that. Okay, so I mean, y'all are kind of like a big deal, you know, in Slovenia. So what does it mean to like come to Eurovision for you all? Because I mean, y'all are kind of a big deal.
You know, Eurovision. Well, Slovenia is a very small country, so any recognition or fame or success comes in a very limited, I would say, package. If someone from the UK or USA would look upon it,
It's quite, to like internationalize yourself out of Slovenia is really humbling. Me personally, it really makes you feel small. So maybe it will be a good check on our egos.
Yeah, I mean, it's really fantastic to see that here we have a concert planned for October, which is already almost sold out, and it's in the largest arena in the country. But here you come to this like territory where literally no one knows who you are before all of this started, and we have so many more people to meet and
impress,
and it's going to be a great journey. Yeah.
Well, what do you think about the fact, because this year is going to be the first year that people outside of Europe and outside of participating countries are going to be able to make their voices heard and vote at the Eurovision Song Contest? What do you think of that?
It's going to be challenging, probably.
I mean, the fact that there are no juries makes it a lot more different and I guess scary for us, which, I mean, we're a really small country, and I would say that we're also in the second semifinal, so we don't have the countries that would vote for us in the, you know, regionally speaking,
like Croatia and Serbia.
So it's gonna be very interesting. It's a little scary, but
and what I think is really interesting is that, as far as I heard, all of the rest of the world countries are going to be grouped as one, you know. So it's really going to be interesting to see how the points get spread across.
Yeah.
So USA and Kazakhstan vote for us.
Well, no, I love that. And honestly, I don't really think y'all have a lot to worry about. I mean, I think you got a whole bunch of people rooting for you. I'm one of them. So yeah, thank you so much for taking the time and speaking with me today.
Thank you. You were actually one of the first reactions, and not the first, that we watched of our song. And we were all very happy with it. So thank you a lot.
Yeah, thank you so much.
No, thank you.